So what we have done so far, we are still on the machine learning under unsupervised learning, where we are dealing with cleaning data, reshaping our data before passing them into a predictive analytics model. So far, so good. Like you just presented now, we have done much as far raw granularity is concerned. And the raw granularity is actually a process in machine learning under unsupervised learning, which help us to reduce the volume of our data, particularly to reduce the number of records or rows in a data frame, and end up increasing the numbers of headers. And then it also involves identifying and removing missing value. That is what we have been doing. Now, in the last class, if you go to check through the cells, we just to call our attention back. This was the place we started looking at. All values should be numeric. And in doing that, we were able to deploy different techniques. We are able to deploy different techniques for us to be able to achieve what we outlined that we want to do. The first one we did was to convert field from text to number. And then the second one was to convert field into numeric field using conditional. We have not done that. I think we only completed the first task under this second category, as the tags under reshaping our column, because we did mention that just as you took your time to perfect your rows, there is also need for you to perfect the columns, because it's part of the data frame itself. So the last thing we did here, at this point here, we replace all the dollar sign that we are attached to the income column that makes pandas to read in this data as objects instead of integer. So at this point, we remove that. So we substituted all the places we have the dollar sign with empty space. So we also find out that another reason why pandas could have interpreted it to be objects instead of integer is because of the presence of the comma separating the thousands. So we did the same thing using string.replace function, just like we did here, to also substitute it with what? An empty space. Then here we try calling out the data using the .info in order for us to be sure whether the values has actually been changed to the right data type. So when we called it, we discovered that we are still having it as objects. That was what led to implementing the main function, which is pd.to_numeric, and we supply the data itself, and then we focus on the header we wanted to convert to number. That is why we did .income. And then when we try running the function again to see if we have actually converted it to number, we discover that we have done that. Now, the next one is, so as we decided to store the converted one in a valid variable, which is this. Then I said in our next class, which is going to be this morning class, we will also be looking at another techniques of converting date and time. So we are going to see that there is another data there that that was also misconverted or read in. Instead of dates, it was read in as objects. So there's need for us to also convert it, because if we don't, we cannot pass in such data into a predictive analytics model. It's not going to give us a precise conversion, or rather prediction. That is the whole essence of all that we are doing since. Okay, so you see that by the time we are done with this whole data, you will notice that there are actually a lot of errors on this data set. Now look at this. Now we are going to be focusing on sign up dates this time around, because the topic is converting what? Datetime. Now you will see that the model does not actually accept this kind of date format where you have 5/18/23. This is not a passable model. This will not work if you supply it into your train model. It won't work. So which means that we just identify that this is also an error. So how do we convert it to the right data? So that is what we are looking at. So let's quickly have a brief note on this that will help us to assimilate. So the topic is converting to date time. So don't think that, in other words, we are saying that this is not date. How do I know? I think we like checking all this. So if I say converted, if I say converted.info, there is need for you to always check. You don't just assume with the appearance. You find out how is pandas actually reading it. We are focusing on the date and time. You can see it now. Sign update. It was read in as an object, which means text. So as far pandas is concerned, this is not date, but to you it look like date. So how do we convert it? That is what we are looking at now. So I wanted to give us a brief note on this. Let me put the note here. So panda will often read in dates. Pandas will often read in date field. Date fields as text. Which is also, like I have explained in the previous lecture, as object. So panda object means text. Data type as well. So just like what we say. So you can use, there's a function, another function you are going to be exposed to. Because the idea is for you to know all these various functions, which can be used to clean up or reshape or update your data before you can pass it into a predictive analytics model. Now, just to continue with the notes, I said you can use PD, so this is the name of the function, PD dot to underscore date time. So it is a function which is used to convert objects or text to date format, just like we have it now. To convert them to date time field. Datetime fields. Okay, so now let's quickly look at the sign up. Now, in this case, like I say, we are focusing on, we are focusing on, let me take it from where we are focusing on this. Control C, focusing on this. The values under sign up, they are the one we are actually focusing on, which we have just confirmed that they are read in as what? Objects instead of date. So now we have already saved that data as okay, so let's work with let me see. Okay, so I'll come back to it. I think I omitted one, but no problem. We can actually run them independently. So we are working with this same data set now. Here we have just confirmed that we have dates not properly read in. So let me put the solution here. Solution to that question. Solution to converting dates, or let's say converting objects, data type to dates time data type. So the solution is that we are going to call the name of the data that is converted. So let me put the syntax. Let me write it as comment first so you understand when you are writing your name. So we'll start by calling the name of the data which is converted. So which means that from converted, you speak. From converted, select the sign up. So I would like to copy it to avoid typographical error, particularly when you have it written in multiple words like this. So just select it as a string. So what you are saying is that from this data, just like we did for the income, from this data, pick what? Sign up dates. Then from here, equals to, then you now do the PD dot, that is the function, PD dot to PD dot to underscore date time. Then remember that this is a function. So being a function, you have to nest the data set and also the header you want the function to convert for you. So why we did it this way is that is whatever that is going to be converted will be stored inside, it will be equals to this so that you update. That's the reason why we called it. But this is actually where you are implementing the function. So the function need to receive the data and the header. Okay, so in doing that, we are going to say convert, use your tab to display it. Convert, then select the same sign up. Okay, now after that, we have to put a comma after the selection bracket in order to define the format. Which format is it going to? That is the acceptable format. The acceptable format, because we are saying that this very format is not acceptable. That is why it is not reading it as date and time. So, or date format. So we need to define the format. So defining the format, so defining the format after the selection of the header, you put a comma and then you type format. So the format is equals to So the format is actually an attribute. At the same time, is an inbuilt function. So you put everything or the entire format definition in the string. And the first sign you write is percentage %m, that is months, then slash percentage d, that is day, then slash percentage coming, percentage again, percentage year. So this is actually the format that will convert it. %m is month, %d is date, day rather, %y. So once we have written this, you can now execute it. So accepted in as much it did not output any error. Now, how do we now verify? To verify, let me use comment to explain that. To verify, we need to know whether we have actually changed from this slash method to the right date and time format. All right, so verify, I said to verify the impact of what we just did, just simply call the converted again. Converted, double tap, and pick your option. So if you run it, you can see you have changed it now. It's now in the global format where you have year first and this. Now, for us to actually confirm if we have changed it until we run .info. So by the time we run .info, on that same data we just updated the sign-up column value from object to date. If you still output it as an object, so we now know that the function has not really made any changes. So what we are going to do here now is for us to run .info. So what we simply do, therefore, to check, run, to check if converted, run, minimize it, run .info, you run .info on converted data frame. Okay, so what I'm going to simply do is to say co, then double tap to bring out the list of variable, pick the one you want, .info, and then run it. So let's go there and check now. Perfect. You can see that we have finally changed it to what? Date and time. Question, is it clear to you? Please respond. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear. It's
okay.
clear.
All right. So we are going to, that means we have learned how to change two different data types now, how to change object to number, how to change object to date. Now we still have other one to look at. Let me see. Let's quickly look at how to change float to integer. And then here we shall be focusing on followers and age. So let's look at them here. If you check what you have under follower is float. Now we are supposed to change them to, let's look at the original value under age. These are supposed to be integer. right? Hope you are with me. These are supposed to be integer. These are supposed to be integer. But they are read as, this is age. They are read as float. This one is also read as float. Now, let's check. I think it's correct because in as much there is a full stop or dot, it means that they are float actually. But supposing integers are read as floats wrongly, and you need to perfect it to convert it to integer. So for learning sake, let's still go over it. So because one of the reasons why you should learn how to convert it from float to integer, floats take more memory space in the model than integer. So we can as well say, okay, we want them to be integer so that it will be lighter because they are all in the category of number data type in Python. Okay, so let's quickly look at that as another method. So here we are learning how to convert floats to integer. Float to integer. So that is a task here. So let me mark down and then shift and enter twice. How to convert float to integer. So we are using the same data. So what is the task? Task here is the age. So we are focusing on age. The age values are read in as float data type. Therefore, convert or change them to integer. That is the task. So remember that we are focusing on age. We are still going to do it for age and the follower. But let me just start with age. Now here we are using another method. So each of these I'm actually using them to expose you to different functions for data conversion. So here using as type. Sorry, using as type function. So at the end of the day, you'll be the one to choose which one do you think is faster whenever you want to convert using as type function. Using as type function. So we are using, so what I'm going to do, the syntax here, the syntax will now be, if you are writing or not, the syntax will simply mean you call that same converted, double tap to display all the variable with that keyword, converted, which is data set, dot the age, dot the as type. You can see sometimes a lot of person prefer this one because it's faster. Then you will just say what? Int inside. Just that you have converted. So if you run it now, you can see that what? It has called out. Remember that these numbers, this number that you are seeing here, if you check here, they were float number. Look at it, 25.0, 19.0. But after converting, they are now what? Whole numbers. Is that clear? Did you understand it? Mr. Please, can you respond? I want
Yes,
to.
I understand. I understand it.
So they are now integer because we were taught that integer in programming, they are whole number. Now here at this point here, they have decimal units, which makes them float. But now after using as type, so you do the same thing for follower, because under follower we also have float, and we want to also change it to what? Integer. So let me just use comment here. Do same for follower. For followers values. So the syntax will simply also be, will be a converted dot follower, because a single word. To avoid typographical error, you can copy it, Control C, then probably what? Bring it here. Then dot as type, and then you put the data type you want it to convert to inside, which is what? Int. Okay, then you run it. So you have also converted all the values you have under what? Followers. But now, if you call that converted and run it, you will notice that what? The values are still showing what? The float. They have not yet switched to what? To integer, as you have just converted. Because when you are using this method, you are not updating automatically. So you just pick out the individual header and their values, convert them. Now you have to come back and substitute them into the main data. So that is going to be the next step now. So the next step is here for after the conversion of individuals features. So in this case now, remember that we are working with age and follower. Command. Then updates them in the main data frame. Update them in the main data frame. So what would be the syntax for us to achieve that? Syntax for us to update them so that the data frame can capture the integer instead of still capturing the floats. So the syntax will simply be, you will call that same data. Now you are updating, convert, that is, then concatenate age now equals to the function that converted age. You copy it and put it there. Remember, this is the function that converted age. So what you are going to do, you take the whole of this, Control C, and then you come to this. So which means that whatever this one generated, substitute it in age. That is what you are saying. Then while you are on the same line, you come down again, you now do converted, dot follower. So let me copy the followers header as well, Control C, and then also paste it, equals to. The function that converted the follower should also be substituted. So you bring it here, Control C, and then you paste it here. So at the end of the day, after this, you have converted all of them. So what has just happened is that the age originally has been changed to what? To the integer. The float under follower has also been changed to integer. Now, for us to see the output now, let's check again. So now call the main data again to check if the decimal point has gone. So let's say now check the main data again if the update has been effected. Okay, now how do we do that? You will just call the con again, double tap to display it, and then run it. Now if you check now, let's see, you can see perfectly. So we have substituted the integer value as against the float that were there before. Is that clear? Quick response. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So far so good. How many functions we have learned so far that can be used for data conversion in machine learning? How many of them you have learned now? Just recap them. Let me hear you.
2.
Is it just 2?
Yes. That PD dot info PD for the string for the number conversion. PD dot num, and this one for the date conversion.
I think we have learned 3. We use as type. As type, and then the first one, second one, to only this session. I think I've covered 2. Okay. So any question?
No question.
Okay. So I'm just thinking of, because the next topic is a bit complex, whether I should just move it to the next meeting or I should run through it. It's something we can actually complete. So let's see what we can do before 6:30. The next topic is, so I would then assume that if you are given data sets or data frame to clean up for predictive analysis using a machine learning algorithm or techniques, you now know how to convert string to number and how to convert date object to date time, and also under converting object to date. Remember the function we use. Then we also learned how to convert object to, no, sorry, float to integer using the as type function. All these are different techniques that are used in machine learning to perfect or reshape our data. Now we are looking at extraction or extracting. Here we are about to display another concept. All these functions, you are to be exposed to them as a data scientist, because you will need them to clean up your data. Okay, so let me mark down and then shift and enter 2 times. So let me just explain here first. Let me give you some explanation so that you know why we are embarking on this technique. So you can use date time method to extract components. from date time field. Okay, now what exactly are we talking about? If you look at this date and time, we have year, we have months, and we have day. So we can decide, because in the future, by the time we have developed the analytics, predictive analytics model under supervised, because right now we are still on unsupervised, trying to perfect the data so that when we get to supervised, where we will start training the model to analyze data for us, this will be an issue. So being a machine might think that one particular month is better than the other months. Let's say it can assume that September is better than October. So to avoid that issue, we want to start extracting the months from the year and save it as a different value. So that is what we are talking about. So the first thing I want to teach us is to how to extract months from the whole of that date, because in this date now we have month. Supposing I want to take the day out of it, I want to extract, that is, I am pulling out of the whole of that date format, which constitutes of year, month, and date, day, and what month. We want to extract the month. That is the concept. All these are techniques that we need to know, because at some point you might be asked to perform all this. Okay, so now let's quickly look at the syntax on how to go about that. So the syntax here, let's say we are extracting it from that same convert. So what I'm going to simply do is to call the data set again. Okay, so from it, I will select using my square bracket, and then I'm selecting the entire header as a component, and then from it, I extract the year. So what I'm going to do is to take the header, which is sign of date. Take the header, which is sign of date. And then after that, I will say equals to, so that it can update it. So I will say equals to. So the next thing I'm going to do is to call that same equals to the same data set. So this is where you want to start applying the conversion, the same data set, and then you are selecting the same attribute, which is the this sign off date. Now, for you to take the month out of it, you now concatenate this function, which is called dt. Is a function dt dot month. dt dot month. So you take this out of it. So which means that is the month that you want to extract out of that particular entire format. That is what from this date time you want to take out what only the month. Now let's quickly run it and see what we get. So now if I call my convert here now, if I call my convert, let's say my convert, I want to show, if I run it, still running. Let's see. Okay, so we have to debug this error. Can only use what? DT accessor with what? Datetime, like value. Like value. Okay, so let's see if we have come in. Let me see where we got it wrong. It has fixed itself now. Now, if you look at sign up now as against of what we were having before, sign up, you can see that we have extracted only the what did we extracted now? The months. That's what you can see here. This is 5. which was here, because here it was combined with the year and the month. But now you have brought out only the months. Is that clear? It's quick response.
Yes, it's clear.
It's clear, right? Okay, if it's clear, just explain it. Let me hear you. What actually happened? What did you?
Okay. Can you scroll down a bit?
Yeah? Okay.
Can you scroll down? It
Okay.
said we converted the sign up date. We extracted the data from the sign up date, which is the
Oh,
month only,
good.
which is the month only from the previous column. So
Okay.
we now, this is the new data now with just months only. We
Exactly.
remove the year and the day.
Okay. Now that is exactly what we achieved. Okay. So now let's look at the day of the week, because now that is the extraction of the month. So like I told you that one of the reason why we are doing this is that if you pass this into predictive analytics model, a model rather, Python might be sentimental by looking at October better than September. And where you are performing analysis, I have to do with aggregating monthly or aggregating value based on certain months. So there might be a priority on some month. And that is why we are working harder to see how we can, reconstruct or reshape the whole value to the format that is acceptable. And that will also guide the AI model to be able to give us precise prediction. Okay, so now let's still look at another. This one is once you have gotten this, the next thing is for you to save this particular copy so that it will be different from this, because at some point you might still make reference to this. So once you get to that point where you start making some reasonable changes, you are expected to save this copy. So to save this copy, what I'm going to do simply, I will just come here. I will just say, let's say converted, which word I'm supposed to use a descriptive word that will inform me on what I actually did. What we did now is months. Okay, so let me just say converted underscore month. So I know that this is where I extracted months. So if I run it, can use this. This is my. So let me come back here and call converted, double tap, and then select it, and display it. So let me run the entire cell. When it happened like this, this was how it was fixed the other time. Okay, so you can see that after saving it, it brought out only the header. It brought out only the header that we converted. So which means that, let me see if I call, because I need to update it in the data set, but let me see if I call convert here, whether it will call the entire data. Okay, good. Okay, good. So what we have done now, we have only stored what? The column here, the column that the value we converted. I think this is still okay. So now we want to look at another one, which is for days of the week. That is the one we want to extract now. So to extract, because we just extracted the month now, to extract day of the week. So we are going to use another syntax, another function. So syntax for that, syntax syntax for extracting day of the week will now be, let's work with that convert, the original convert, not the one we just saved now, which is this. So from this, you are selecting the same header that have the component you are extracting, which is the sign up. So I'll take it from here, Control C, and then paste it in here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to equate it to equate just like what we did the other time. So I will say convert, the same thing, convert, then from convert, select the same thing, and then paste. Now, here I will now concatenate. So while we are equating so that it can update directly on the data. So if I don't want it to update directly on the data, then there wouldn't have been need for this equation, this section here. I will just write this. After that, I will now come and update just like what we did the other time. So now I'll come here and do that dot dt, that just like the way we did it. Then dt dot day of the week. You are typing them together. That is how it is, no space. Day of the week. So now if you run it, what is the error? Day of the week. Let's check if it's the same thing. So whenever you get this error, just run everything again. It's trying to connect with your appropriate library. So let's see if that will be accepted. Can only the accessor. Hope we don't have error. So let's see. Let's check if we can easily dt okay. So here let's change this to, we have to change this heading. So this should be, so this very one we have to change the days of the week. So let's just say days of the week. So let's just make it like this, but so I will differentiate it. So by the time it's output in the data set, it should have changed to day of the week. It's no longer a sign of, that's sign of day of the week. That's what we are trying to get here. So let's see how we can debug this out. We are stopping here. So your assignment is to look at the same data and apply just as we have implemented so far. All right. So have a nice day. All right. So just in case you are watching this video, this is live from Digitech Hub, a platform, an online platform where you can actually learn numerous IT skills via live Zoom, just as you are watching this live Zoom recorded video. We offer training on data analytics. We offer training on web development. We also train on cyber security, ethical hacking, and other in-demand tech skills. This platform is made up of professionals with lots of years of experience. We have all it takes to mold you technological-wise. We have all it takes to mentor you. Our goal is for us to equip you to be able to absorb a remote job. Our goal is not actually on certification only. Our goal is to make sure that you understand what you actually paid for. So in case you want to reach out to this platform, you want to enroll, you want to register for any of our master classes, simply dial or simply call or WhatsApp 07069665919. Let me take it again. You want to enroll or you want to ask questions on how we offer our services, on how to register with Digitesi Hub, WhatsApp or call the number 07069665919 or log on to our website www.digitech.com.ng. Right there are free videos of different classes that I have held through the same live Zoom that's available there for you to watch free. Then you can also follow us on our upcoming program. This platform also organize free training at times, so you need to make sure that you join the community so that you can get these updates as they are rolled out. See you in the next edition. This is Masterclass on Data Science. Currently, we are learning machine learning under unsupervised learning. Thank you for watching. Looking forward to keep having you on this platform.